Agadadhara Srivasava Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2. You're on text 42-43. Yam imam pushpitam vacham
Yam imam pushpitam vacham
pravadanti avipaschita
pravadante avipaschita
veda vada rata partha
veda vada rata partha
nanyad astiti vadina
nanyad asthiti vadina
kamadmana svargapara
kamatmana swargapara
janma karma phala pradam
janma karma phala pradam
kriya vishesha bahulam
kriya vishesha bahulam
Yogeshwarya gatim prati.
bhogeshwarya gatim prati.
Someone will read.
No, I
Yes.
can read them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Translation. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant uh, result, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purpose. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotirstoma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees, without knowing the results of such attractions, unenlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, it is said, Apama Somam Amrita Abhuma Anakshaya Havai Chaturmasya Yajani Sukritam Bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the Somrasa beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have Somras to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratification. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandana Kanana in which there is a good opportunity for association with angelic beautiful women and having a profuse supply of Somrasa wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual, and therefore there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material world.
So here, Krishna is saying Because the Vedas, a large portion of the Vedas deal with this Karmkand section. Because Krishna knows it's our desire to enjoy material pleasures. And so a large portion of this Vedas deals with what is Karmakand, doing some pious activity, some ritual, some penances, some sort of austerity, some sort of charity. Why? So that we get pious results, so that we can go to the heavenly planets, so that we can enjoy better over there, have better looking men or women, have more, the quality of life, the standard of life is even higher, more sense enjoyment. So Krishna is saying people who indulge in this are of small knowledge, small intelligence. Why? Because after all, it's still seeking material pleasure. It's still in the material world. It's still temporary. After that good karma finishes in the heavenly planets, will still come down. When we see a lot of people are attached to this kind, to try to go to the moon planet. Why? Because you can drink somras there, want to um, have beautiful men or women. So that's why people are keeping such a desire. But Krishna is saying, no, this is small intelligence if you do this. Saying get up from this position. Although the Vedas are saying don't get caught up in this flowery language of this Vedas. Vogeshwarya Prashaktanam
Bhogeshwarya Prasattanam
Taya Prahrata Chetasam
Taya Parthashitatam
Vyavasayatmika Buddhi
Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi
Samadho Na Vidhiyate.
Samadhaona Vidhyate. Translation. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary in the Nirukti says Samyag Adhyate Simin Atmatva Yathamayam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy.
So Krishna is saying those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and bewildered by such things, you know, because we just want to enjoy how much ever we can with our eyes, tongue, ears, nose. We are attracted by this material energy so much, is so attractive to us. So then we get bewildered. We forget what's the truth. We forget that we are spirit souls. We have nothing to do here with this material world. That the material energy is just a separated energy of Krishna. And this entire material creation is temporary. We forget all these things. So Krishna is saying those who are too attached to this material world, they will not be able to get this. Dridvrata. What is that Dridvrata? Resolute determination. Resolute determination for what? For devotional service. Because the attachment is so strong to the material world. Hmm? The mind is bewildered. The mind is all the time thinking of sense enjoyment. And there's so much, it happens proportionately, right? The mind is completely absorbed in sense enjoyment. So then the mind has no space to think about devotional service. So this is what Krishna is saying. And Prabhupada is pointing out temporary things. This is actually temporary. Material sense enjoyment is temporary. It's for a short time. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. Traigunya Vishaya Veda.
Gunya Visaya Veda.
Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna.
Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna.
Nirdvandvo Nityas Satvastho.
Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto.
Niryoga Shema Atmavan.
Niryoga Sema Atmavan. Translation. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties, for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Profit. All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results, which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy. Whereas in the beginning there is Brahma Jitnyasa or questions on the supreme transcendence, all the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishads, which are which are part of different Vedas as the Bhagavad Gita.
Sorry, Neetu can't hear you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ah, now?
You can hear me, no, Bhavi?
Yeah, now. Your
Yeah.
voice is actually not very clear though. Anyways.
Oh,
Mm.
as long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material mode. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness.
Your voice went away again. I don't know, is it for me only or for everyone?
Even I cannot hear.
Even you can't hear.
Krishna.
So, Hare Krishna, Neetu, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, Bhavi, I can hear you guys. Wait, let me disconnect.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. Can
Yeah,
hear you.
now can you hear me properly, Bhavi?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, I think the battery is low of my AirPods. Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's much better now. Okay, so we continue.
So I'll read the last para again. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
As long as a material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth. And by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna.
So Krishna is continuing to tell Arjuna that you rise above the modes of nature. What are the modes of nature?
There are three modes of material nature.
Yeah, which are they? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Rajogun.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Rajogun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun. Krishna is saying you rise
Yeah.
above this. Become transcendental means be situated on the transcendental platform means remember that you are not the body or the soul. So Krishna is saying be free from dualities, duality, heat and cold, happiness and distress. good and bad, free from all anxieties for safety and gain, and be established in the self. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you come on the transcendental platform, understand yourself as eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Understand your self as a spirit soul. Then how can we do that? We can do that easily in this age of Kali by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That's a process given to us in this age of Kali, which is mentioned in so many of the Upanishads and so many of the scriptures. Bhagavatam also mentions that. So, because Krishna is saying, if you just stay within this material world, you're going to be keeping on struggling. You're going to keep on being here in the material world, birth, death, old age, and disease. And then here we are struggling very hard for existence. Krishna says that this is karshati, hard struggle for existence. It's true, no? To survive here in the material world is not easy. We see now even small children say they have stress. So when Krishna created the world, he gave us this Vedas. Vedas is like a manual. When we buy a TV, any gadget, then the manufacturer gives us a manual of how to properly use this gadget, how to get the best out of it. Similarly, when Krishna made this material world, he gave us the Vedas so that we can understand the creation, we can understand ourselves, we can understand his position, so that we can live happily here in this material world, at the same time cultivate our spiritual knowledge, and at the end of life, go back home, back to Godhead. This is what Krishna's, um, this is the reason he has created the world. This is the reason he gives the Vedas. He keeps coming himself, or he sends his confidential devotees. But what happens to us? We are here. We're just thinking this is it. I'm the body. This is the only world there is. Let me enjoy as much as we can, without trying to understand who we truly are. Prabhupada is saying this. Bhagavad Gita deals with this. There are the different Upanishads. Because a big portion of the Vedas deals with the Karma Kanda. But there is also the Vedas, Upanishads, which give us information about the Supreme Lord. That information is there. So we should not just always stay, for example, in the first grade. We have to come to the second grade, third grade. If we want to, even material knowledge is like that, right? Can't just stay on one level. We have to keep on improving. So Krishna is saying you rise above this, the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. So till the time we are in the material body, the modes act on us. They act on us. Then we have actions, reactions, that is karma. And sometimes because of this, we have happiness, distress, cold or warm. Krishna is saying tolerate, just tolerate. How? Srila Prabhupada is saying, be Krishna conscious, fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna. Understand that whatever is happening by the will of Krishna, which is all good. Krishna will never cause misfortune or inauspiciousness for anyone. He is the Supreme Father of everyone. So he thinks good for everyone. We may sometimes, because we are undergoing a lot of difficulty or suffering, we may not understand the plan at that moment. But if we can somehow or the other tolerate it, understanding Krishna as my best friend, when we look in retrospect, we will understand that, yes, when we just depend on Krishna. So by hearing and chanting, we can come to this transcendental position, this position of Krishna consciousness. Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampluto dake avan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha
Brahmana Vijanatha. Translation. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Purport. The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedic literature are meant to encourage gradual development of self realization. And the purpose of self realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of studying the Veda is to know Lord Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So, self realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with him. The relationship of the living entity with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. Aho batta swapako to gariya yach jivagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapa te juhu sasnur arya brahmanachur nama granante yete. O my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Kandala dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literature many times after taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals, nor is it possible to study all of the Vedanta and the Upanishads thoroughly. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purposes of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakash Sanada Saraswati, and why he was the Lord, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy. The Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism.
So, let's see. So Krishna is putting an analogy. He's saying, you go to a small well, or whatever purpose you need to drink, you need water from the well for whatever purpose. All these purposes can be fulfilled when you're going to a large reservoir of water, no? Because it's bigger, right? It's bigger. That's why. So Krishna is saying that how can you know the Vedas? You have to understand it. What's the purpose of the Vedas? Because most of us just get so involved in the karmakan section of the Vedas, do this pious activity to go to the heavenly planet so you can enjoy more. Most of us get distracted by this. But what is the real purpose of the Vedas? Krishna is saying that the purpose of studying the Vedas is to understand Krishna. Veda is just a where aham eva Vedya, Vedanta Krit Veda Picha. So The ultimate, the purpose, the goal of the Vedas is to understand Krishna, understand our own relationship with Krishna. Each and every one of us has an eternal relationship with Krishna. As we have relationships here in the material world, we have relationships with parents, maybe siblings, maybe spouses, friends, um, so many different relationships. But those relationships change at, with time or with death, they change. But there is one relationship which never changes. That's our eternal relationship with Krishna. Krishna says in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 7, Mama evamso jiva loki jiva bhuta sanatana. The living entities are eternal. They are my parts and parcels, he says. Mama evamso jiva loki. So we the souls, we, each of us, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are eternally, we have this pure Krishna consciousness when we are in the pure state. Right now, our consciousness has become material. Right now, we are thinking we are the body because we have been in this material atmosphere for a very long time. So our consciousness has become dirty. But in our natural state, in our original state, each of us is Krishna conscious. So we simply have to revive this Krishna consciousness, our original chant, our original position. And how can we do that in this age of Kali? The scriptures, the Vedas, they recommend that the only way, and the only way is by chanting the holy name. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, kalau nasteva, nasteva gatir anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only way to God realization, the only way to perfection is by chanting the holy name. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So this is repeated 3 times. No other way, no other way, no other way. It's not that it's a mistake, but no, it's to emphasize because it's so important to help us understand. Because we may say, okay, I'll get realization through meditation, or I'll get realization through knowledge. But the scriptures are screaming, no other way, no other way, no other way, except chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, just so that we can understand, if I'm going to do something else, I will not get realization in this age of Kali. Why? Because our lives are short. We do not have the long life of 100,000 years so that we can do meditation for 60,000 or so years. We don't have that. We don't have the paraphernalia for sacrifices. We can't even speak the mantras. We don't understand them. We can't speak them. The mantras which are to be chanted during the sacrifices. Deity worship, we do not have the excellent paraphernalia with which to serve the deity. This is our position in Kali Yuga. Our lives are short, our minds are disturbed, we are lazy. So we are given the most potent chant the Hare Krishna mantra and go back home, back to Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya, he came to give us this Yoga Dharma, which is the chanting of the holy name. And he was asked by Prakashananda Saraswati, why you're just only chanting? Lord Chaitanya said, I'm a fool. My Guru Maharaj told me I'm a fool. So he told me I cannot understand anything else. Just chant the Hare Krishna mantra. But that's the essence of all the Vedas. The essence of the Vedas is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So that's the highest thing. Means one who's chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he's understood all the Vedas. He's understood what is the reason the Vedas are there. He studied the Vedas. Bhagavatam says that those who are intelligent will worship Lord Chaitanya in the age of Kali by the Sankirtana movement. Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself. So many places it's mentioned that those who are intelligent will take up this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So it's a sign of great intelligence to take up Krishna consciousness, because that's the purpose of the Vedas. That means we understood the Vedas. So chant the holy name inoffensively. There are 10 offenses to the chanting of the holy name. So we should know them and try to avoid them while chanting. And it's difficult for us to avoid them. In a very humble state, we can beg to the holy name, beg to the Vaishnavas that I'm an offender to the holy name. I commit these offenses thousands and thousands of times. Please uh, help me chant the pure holy name. Pure holy name gives us, yeah, can do that. So Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the original speaker of the Vedas. Then he, in his incarnation as Vedvyas, he compiled the Vedas. He wrote the Vedanta Sutra. So that's Krishna. And the soul who takes great pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. He is the great highest Vedantist. Vedantist means one who has understood the Vedas. So all the Vedas are telling us, chant the Hare Krishna mantra. That is the perfection in this age of Kali. Are there any questions or comments, Kalina?
None.
Okay. Karmani evadhikaraste
Karmani evadhikaraste
ma phaleshu kadachana
ma phaleshu kadachana
ma karma phala heturbhur
ma karma phala heturbhur
ma te sanga asva karmani.
ma te sango swat karmani. Anyone else wants to read? I think no one, no? I don't know. Should I continue reading, Bhabhi?
Please, yeah, please.
There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in the terms of one's required modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results become the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is a cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna.
So Krishna is telling Arjuna that you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but because many people think this, oh, Krishna is saying you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but we have to read the full verse, not just stop there. But Krishna says, not entitled to the fruits of action. But one will say, hey, but I worked so hard for it and you don't want me to have the fruit. That's not fair. But why? Because then when we get attached to the fruits of action, that keeps us here in the material world. Those fruits could be good or could be bad, whatever, even if it's good fruits, good results, good reactions. We still have to come back to the material world to to pay off that karma. So that's why Krishna is saying, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. We say, oh, this happened because of me. Because of me. We are taught, take ownership for your action. Well, we should take responsibility for our actions. We have to act responsibly. But we are not, we are advised not to think that the result has come because of our action. It doesn't mean that we don't act then, because we may say, oh, well, what do you want me to do? I'm going to stop doing anything. No, we have to be responsible, as Krishna is saying, do your duty. Because by reading this, we may get confused and say, oh, well, then I don't do anything. No, Krishna is saying that's sinful if you don't do your duty. He's telling Arjuna. He's saying, don't never be attached to not doing your duty. Do your duty without attachment to the results. That's what Krishna is saying. We are in the modes of nature, and in this modes of nature, we are going to act. But if we act against the Vedas, then that is capricious work. Actions without the sanction of authority. That's vikarma. That becomes vikarma. Doing the wrong actions for which we'll get bad results. Inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. Krishna is saying you have to do your duty. We can see Krishna is repeatedly saying you have to do your duty, because many people may think, oh, if I'm going to become Krishna conscious, I'm going to become a lazy fool. I will not know anything. I'll be, left nowhere. But here we see the Vedas are saying that it's a sign of great intelligence. One who takes up Krishna consciousness, one who's chanting the holy name is in fact very intelligent. And then again, Krishna is keeping on saying, no, don't give up doing your duty. You do it, but do it for my satisfaction. Do it without being attached to the result. So there's routine work, emergency work, desired activities, all of them, Krishna is saying, act without attachment. Be attached to Krishna. Our attachment right now is in the material world. So we just have to transfer this attachment to Krishna. How do we do that? We are unable to do that. Just add Krishna in our life. How do we do that? We hear and chant about Krishna. Gradually, everything will happen. We simply add Krishna in our life. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, it's a matter of duty, and the only auspicious path for you is to fight, O Arjuna. Don't give up fighting. So it may be very difficult sometimes to do our duty, but we do that nonetheless for the pleasure of Krishna. Yogastha kuru karmani.
Yogastha kuru karmani.
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya.
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya.
Siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva.
Siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
Samatvam yoga uchyate. Translation. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord, and because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the result of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness, only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness. which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such, he is participating in the Varnasrama Dharma institution. It is said that in Vishnu Purana, that in the Varnasrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So, unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principle of Varnasrama Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him.
So material life means we want to act to satisfy our senses. Spiritual life means to act to satisfy Krishna's senses. The reason we are in the material world is because we say, why should I work for satisfaction of Krishna? I want to enjoy the results myself. That's the reason we are in the material world. What happens is that when we want to satisfy the results of our activities, then, of course, we are creating more and more lives for ourselves because we do some action, that action has a reaction, and then we have to wait here in the material world to receive those reactions. Some reactions are good, some reactions are bad. So that's why Krishna is saying, you work, because without work we cannot say. We have to. But he's saying, you do it for my satisfaction. And in that way, we do not get any karma. We do not, we don't have to wait here in the material world to receive any reactions. So that leads to, that is called akarma, art. That is called akarma. We are not getting any material karma. In fact, we are getting spiritual benefit. It's helping us to get out of the material world and go back home, back to Godhead. So Vishnu Puran is saying the whole idea of Varnashrama Dharma is to satisfy Krishna. You know, we are not able to understand that we are actually parts and parcels of Krishna. And so, if we satisfy Krishna, we ourselves will be satisfied. We will be happy. But we are thinking we are separate from Krishna. And that's the reason we are saying, oh, why should I satisfy Krishna? I'm going to satisfy myself. So what we are doing, not understanding that we are a part of the leaf of the tree, no? And then we are trying to individually water the leaf. But the leaf is not going to get satisfaction by doing that. But if we water the root, then the water goes on to all the leaves, all the branches, and all the leaves and branches are nourished and green and healthy. That's our position. So Krishna is saying, perform your duty equipoise. Equipoise, because we sometimes say, oh, the result is going to be good, then I'll do it. The result is bad, I'm not going to do it. Well, not good or bad, rather. Or there might be failure or there might be success. But Krishna is saying, you do your duty, irrespective of there is failure or success. You don't look for the results. You put the effort. That's what Krishna is saying. We can't control the results. But what we are doing is we are always want to control the result. And because of that, we may sometimes not be able to do our duty well. Because of what's the result? What's the result? Oh, it's going to be difficult for me. So we say, okay, I'm not going to do it. But Krishna is saying, no, you do your duty. Don't think about the results. That's what nothing. Arjuna has nothing to do with the results. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. So we act just for the pleasure of Krishna, doing our prescribed duty for the pleasure of Krishna. The results are in Krishna's hands. So depending on Krishna, on the goodwill of Krishna, as we heard just now, some time ago today. Depending on the goodwill of Krishna, understanding Krishna is my best friend. So what is real yoga? Following Krishna's instructions. Following Krishna's instructions. So Krishna came 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya. He's saying you chant the holy name. Chant. Hear about Krishna from Bhagavatam. Chant the holy name. And only then can we be able to understand our real position? Can we revive our Krishna consciousness? We do not have to give up our house or duties. Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't give up anything. You just work for my satisfaction. That's what we have to do. Stay wherever we are. We begin our chanting of Hare Krishna. We hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita regularly. And then we can come to our real position. Jivera Swarupaya Krishna Nityadas. That's what Lord Chaitanya begins his teachings with that. Sanatana Goswami asks him, who am I? Lord Chaitanya says, Jivera Swarupaya Krishna Nityadas. Every living entity is eternal servant of Krishna. We are thinking we are the lords of the material world. We are thinking we are the controllers, we are the proprietors. And because of that, we are trying to control this material world. But it's not in our nature. We do not have that. So that's why there's a great struggle for existence. This great struggle, this karshati that we go through. Because we are not able to understand who we truly are. That we are eternal parts and parcels of Krishna, eternal servants of Krishna. So when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, gradually, our true nature is revealed to us. We can be situated on the Krishna conscious platform. That's why we are recommended to hear and chant regularly. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's good, Bhabhi. All good.
Going on. Durena hi avaram karma.
Durena hi avaram karma.
Buddhi yoga dhananjaya.
Buddhi yoga dhananjaya.
Buddha sharanam anvicha.
Buddha sharanam anvicha.
Kripana falahetava.
Kripana
Kripana
Falahetava.
phalahetava. Translation. O Dhananjay, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their works are misers. Purpose. One who has actually come to understand one constitutional position as an eternal servitor of the Lord gives up all engagements save working in Krishna consciousness. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. Such devotional service is the right course of action for the living entity. Only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their own work just to be further entangled in the material bondage. Except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. One should therefore never desire to be the cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Misers do not know how to utilize the assets of riches which they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like misers, unfortunate persons do not employ their human energy in the service of the Lord.
So Krishna is telling Arjuna, he's saying again that be Krishna conscious. Keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. Krishna is saying you engage in devotional service. And by engaging in devotional service, of course, you will not be doing sinful activities. And surrender to me, he's saying. He's saying you do your duty, don't be attached to your results, do it for my pleasure, be Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying that one who has actually come to understand the position, every living entity, we just heard in the previous purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying every living entity is eternal servant of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya says that. Krishna is also saying, surrender unto me. Means what? Krishna is in the superior position and he's asking us to surrender to him. Means we are eternal servants of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is saying when one can actually understand this position, then we can understand our truth, one's constitutional position. That's who we truly are, each soul. Each soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. Then once the soul, the living entity, can understand this, what he does, he becomes Krishna conscious. All the activities he does is in Krishna consciousness because he's perfectly understood his position. So Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. So this is devotional service. It's done out of love. It's not that when we think that Krishna is master, I'm the servant, Krishna is going to whip me, he's going to, manipulate me, or he's going to take advantage of me. No, no. All that happens on the material world. On the spiritual platform, it's a relationship of love. When we love someone, we want to serve them. We love our parents, so we serve them. We love our children, so we serve them. We do things for them, right? We love our spouses, so we serve them. It's coming from service. Whenever there is love, there is service. So there's loving relationship between the living entity and Krishna. And so there is this exchange of service. Not only the devotee is serving Krishna, Krishna is serving the devotee also. We see in Bhagavad Gita, just the front page, the picture. Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna. He is driving Arjuna. He's becoming the driver of his devotee. So this is a relationship of love. And that is our real activity, devotional service. Sanatan Dharma, devotional service. Prabhupada is pointing out that when we desire to enjoy the fruit of our work, we get bound here. Because when we want to enjoy the fruit, of course, then we will get the fruit. Then, of course, we have to take further births in the material world. So that's why we should never desire to be the cause of work. We, in fact, say, yes, yes, look, I did such a great thing. I did such a great thing. But then to get the result of this great thing, we'll have to stay longer in the material world. Also, we should understand that all results are given by Krishna. We put in the effort, yes. Then why is it that sometimes otherwise we put in the effort and the result is not as per our requirement? Then what do we say? Then we say, oh, maybe this happened or maybe that happened. Right? So what we can do is just put the effort. We can't control the result. But the effort we have to do. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. You do your duty. Don't think about the result. So I think maybe we can stop here. Let's see how. Is that appropriate? It's a short one. Let's see if we can try to finish it. Buddhi yukto jahati ha.
Yukto iha
Ube sukrita dushkrite.
ube sukrita
Ube
dukrite
sukrata duskrate.
Tasmad yogaya yojyasva.
tasmat
Tasmat yogyata yojyasva.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
yoga
Yoga
karmasu
karmasu kausalam. Translation: a man engaged in devotional service grids himself for both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Such time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Sri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chain victimization of action and reactions, birth after death, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action.
Krishna is telling Arjuna, take up devotional service. Here we are suffering or we are enjoying the results of our activities. And like this, we have so many, lives more to go because we have been here in this material world since a long time. So we don't know how much karma we have. So Krishna is saying, so here Srila Prabhupada is pointing out, that we are victimized, right? Where is that? Chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. We are spirit souls actually. But because of this action and reaction, then we are staying here in the material world. How to get out of here? Engage in devotional service. Be situated in our platform, real constitutional position. Surrender to Krishna. This is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharmam parityagya mam ekam sharanam raja. Aham tom sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma sucha. He says in chapter 18, text 66, just surrender unto me. Abandon all varieties of religion, surrender unto me, and I'll save you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So when we surrender to Krishna, when we engage in devotional service, then all the good, bad reactions, all the reactions are finished. No one will say, okay, bad reactions finished. That's good. Why good reactions have to be finished? Now we are going to be attached to our good reactions, means again we have to take birth in maybe heavenly planets, enjoy there for a long time. Then one will say, so what's so bad about it? It's enjoyment after all. Yeah, but it's in the material world then. And then once that finishes, again we will come to earth to create more and more actions and reactions. Then again, some reactions will be good and some will be bad. That's why Krishna is saying, you take up devotional service, you put an end to this birth and death. Come back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay? So working for the pleasure of Krishna, that is karma yoga. Krishna is continuously saying, work for the pleasure of Krishna. Let's stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.